Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know where you at.
Welcome. We're so
It's that
excited for you guys.
day.
Yes,
Today's
yes.
that day.
It's Wednesday, and oh my gosh, are you in Chicago today? Are you in Chicago today? I
If
started
not, you
out
don't want to
at
be.
7 a.m. this morning. I
What happened
drove
at 7
about
a.m.?
I drove about 3 blocks,
Mm-hmm.
and within those 3 blocks, it got dark, and I could not see in front of me.
This sounds like a scary movie.
That's it. I was like, only in Chicago will it be hot yesterday, summer, and then today be a whole little morning snowstorm. I'm
Yeah, it
like,
was like 50 degrees yesterday, wasn't it?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yep.
And then I caught myself going out with my little sneakers on again today.
uh, can can you say watch the weather, even though they
Right.
lie?
Can you say your mother used to say, don't change your clothes, you're going to get pneumonia?
That's right.
I just want to know. I just want to know because my mom was like, I see you down there. Look at you. Not
Right.
even dressed for the weather.
Not even dressed for the weather. That's right. What you got on?
What you got on? But that's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know if it was
Oh
just me
goodness.
today, right?
Yeah. No, it's not just you today. Not just
So,
you. I think
Lisa,
we
what we
all
gonna
dealing with
talk
that
about today?
Chicago stuff going on. It's
What
only
we
in
gonna
Chicago. Only in Chicago.
right? And I'm sure it was different in the suburbs versus the city.
Actually, I think it may have been.
Um,
Well, so I'll tell you what I got around. It wasn't 7, but I want to say maybe around 8-ish. I think that's when I started. Because when I first got up this morning, it was nice and pretty, no snow on the ground. I was like, oh, okay. The weatherman was wrong again.
so
Then,
yeah. So
then,
I don't know, right?
yeah.
But today we're gonna talk about this city versus the suburbs,
That's right.
right?
Dun, dun, dun.
Right. We're
So
gonna
if
do
you said, but we're not going to talk about it just weather-wise today. We're going to talk about it real estate-wise.
right,
So,
exactly. We're gonna do
if
a
you
little reality check on the
there's some
city and
reality checks.
suburbs.
That's right.
Right.
So if you're saying you want to have a house in the burbs, but your budget is saying you need a house in the city, we need to talk.
Yeah, yeah. I get so many people that say, "Well, I want to live in the suburbs," and I'm like, "Okay."
Okay.
Yes, and like you said, if your budget doesn't say that, that's one thing. So we see this struggle all the time, right? Like there's
Hmm.
just like I said, there's a lot of people that don't know, maybe they don't know where they want to live, if they want to live in the city or the suburbs.
Hmm.
And they both have different advantages. And so it's just really best for you to understand like what's the trade-offs? Like,
Right.
what because in the city there may be some things that where you could benefit versus in the suburbs as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
So today we're gonna talk about some real comparisons of the city versus the suburbs today.
Okay, we're gonna get into some of those realities. You are watching Water Cooler Wednesdays with real estate mortgage conversations for the Chicagoland market. We have it every week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time, coming to you through social media.
Yes. So my name's Dione Branch, and I am with Allure Dream Homes. You want to say
Broker
anything?
by.
Oh, broker by EXP Realty.
Okay. And I am Lisa J. White, also known as the House Money Mama, and I'm with Nexa Lending. And I can no longer say that brokers are better, although I still want to. But we have all your real estate financing needs. So, but we especially focus in on residential. So that's what we're here to talk about when we come to you every week for Water Cooler Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah,
All
definitely.
right. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. So one of the things a lot of times that happens, we see this often because, we in the trenches, we in the real estate streets, y'all. That's what we out here doing every day. And a lot of times what we do see is that buyers decide emotionally. They don't really decide things financially. And we've talked about this before in previous episodes and stuff, and that's not 100% bad, but you definitely want to have a mixture
Yeah.
because there's some realities that your emotionalism is not going to be able to sustain, if you don't make a good decision. So
Hmm.
what you really want to do is look at, like, for example, is there a difference in the city and suburbs as far as finance, your monthly payments? That's the biggest thing I would say. If you're watching your pocketbook, then that's one of the things you want to definitely take into consideration. So are there differences? And yes, there can be. There won't be a difference like as far as interest rate or anything like that. I can't charge you a different interest rate because you live in the city as opposed to living in the suburbs. It doesn't work like
Right.
but
But
there are going to be other differences, like, for example, property taxes. And
yeah,
that has absolutely nothing to do with me. I'm not the one that charges the taxes. If it was up to me, there would be no property taxes. You just, everybody pay their fair share and we were all good.
yeah, yeah. But unfortunately, the Cook County,
Cook County.
yeah, has really done some different assessments of the taxes
Yeah.
over the last 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and there has been great increase, especially within the suburbs, for the taxes.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
And when you look at a monthly mortgage payment, there are some things that me as your lender that I do have control over, but there are other things that I do not. So for example, I have some control over the interest rate. If it's I may have the ability to give you a lower interest rate or to help you work out something where you buy down your rate so that it's less, than what you actually qualify for. Things like that may be things that I might be able to have an impact and some kind of influence on, right? But when we get into the part of the mortgage payment that's your property taxes, I have nothing to do with that at all county. The county tells us, they make the assessment, they send out whatever they assess you for taxes, and then it's really just the responsibility, of you as a homeowner through your mortgage. Because if you have an escrowed mortgage, then the lender is going to pay the monthly, or actually it's not monthly, it usually end up being twice a year, taxes for you out of that escrow account. But we don't have any control over how much is actually charged. We get the bill and we pay it. So that is something to think about because that can make a difference. If you're buying a place where the taxes are, like, say they both, I don't know, maybe cost the same amount, but um, the taxes in the suburbs are $8,000 for the year, whereas the taxes in the city might only be 3,500. Then that's a big difference on your monthly payment.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it's definitely a big difference when, especially when you have a tight budget and there's no flexibility.
Hmm.
So, the higher your taxes are, that means the amount of the house actually goes down, right? So maybe Lisa might give you a pre-approval for 230,000 with 4,000 taxes. But then that same pre-approval, if you're looking somewhere else, like in the suburbs, where
Hmm.
we see the taxes are higher, that same pre-approval could go down to what, Lisa? Like 185, maybe 230 to maybe like
Yeah,
185,
about
depending.
190. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Sounds about right.
that's a big difference when we're out looking for houses in the suburbs, because you want the 4 bedroom, 3 baths with the right, newly
Exactly.
updated.
Yes. And I did the numbers real quick while we were talking about just the difference between the taxes. Difference between the taxes, if you were going to pay the difference, that's a $376 difference per month.
per month.
Yeah, in your
Mhm.
monthly mortgage payment. So if you were hoping for, a $2,000 mortgage payment, well, now you're probably looking more like around 2,300
Mhm.
because of the difference in taxes. So that's definitely something to take into consideration. Comparing how your monthly mortgage payment will be, how that will fall out versus whether you live in the city or whether you live in the suburbs. Dion, what you got?
Yeah, lifestyle expectancy, the expectations versus reality, right? Like we kind of talk about this, just a little bit. A lot of people are excited they want to live in the suburbs, and they have, oh, I want the suburban style living, things like that. And
Hmm.
so, but based off of your budget, maybe, you can't really afford that. So these are some things that, you have to really kind of think about, your commute, parking, space, schools,
Mm,
things like that. So
yeah.
in the city, it could kind of be different things. It could be the city where, a a city just within the neighborhoods, or it could be downtown, up north. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of different neighborhoods. There's actually 77 like neighborhoods in
In
Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah.
So there's a lot of variations. And so when you're looking at houses and thinking about, okay, where I want to live, that's the first part about it. Whereas you have to decide, okay, am I trying to I work downtown. I want to live close to work. I want to be in a reasonable commute. So
Yeah.
that's something that you want to think about, because that can make a difference based on if you live South Loop, or if you live in the South Side, West
Mhm.
Side, or if you live in the suburbs.
Mhm.
Do I want to go ahead? Do I want to just catch the metro to work? Do I like to drive to work? Where are my children going to go to school? I want them
Yeah.
to be in one of the top schools in the Chicagoland area. So that means that I want to be in these certain neighborhoods, these certain suburbs, and so I can take advantage of those. So we always talk about this. We talk about planning. We ask you to
Right.
drive the neighborhoods. We ask you to think about, because when it comes to purchasing the house, these are some of the questions that I'm going to ask you. Well, what neighborhood, what areas are you considering?
Right.
And because you know buyers, they may want to think they live in the suburbs. I was like, I really think I want to live in the suburbs. And
Mm,
then as we start to look, and they say, okay, I explained to them where the taxes is high. One of the communities that's really high is Park Forest, as example, right? So right? So Park Forest taxes are about $8,000. So that is a big difference as far as what you can afford, as far for your home. So that means that a lot of people are actually attracted to Park Forest because they see that the homes are less, and that's based
Right.
off of what the taxes are. So, hey, Lady Di, we see you. Thank you for joining us. But so one of the, so those are the things that you really want to consider when you're looking at this in the suburbs. And
Yeah.
then, you know, what happens like when you're in the city? A lot of people, the city is actually, a lot of people, I often say, I'm just done with the city. I don't want to live in the city.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Right, and we respect your decisions, but it's hard when we know, okay, you can get such a nicer home, or in the city. And city varies from, excuse me, from neighborhood to
From
neighborhood.
place to place. Yeah, different
Hmm.
areas. Hmm.
Right.
It's
So
almost like every area has its own little culture or its own, advantages and disadvantages, depending
yeah,
on where you
yeah.
go.
And I think what I always want to know is, say, is it's like, hey, think about it. Don't allow, things that you known about an area in the past to affect your decision for today. Because if you really drive around, a lot of the areas where we used to think were really bad neighborhoods
Hmm.
have actually converted and changed around. Like I've seen
Okay.
people, an example is Inglewood, right? Like
Hmm.
Inglewood, Roseland, some of those areas. But a lot of people are investing in those areas, and the houses are nice. And so I would say don't just go off of the past. You should probably just take a look at what's happening right now.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. And while you talking about, because you kind of hit on a little bit, purchase price, like when you talked about, what was it, Park Forest? Talking about
Hmm.
Park Forest, how the purchase prices, people say, oh, the house only costs this much. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the tax is $15,000, so that's gonna make a difference in your monthly payment. But yeah, so purchase prices though can be different, again, depending on where you are. And a lot of times you may find maybe a lower price house in the suburbs, but then it'll be higher price taxes.
Hmm.
So,
Which actually might end up where if you were looking at a house in the city, you might end up being able to buy such a larger house compared to if you're buying a house in the suburbs where
mhm,
it might be limited because of the cost.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, and then also keeping in mind, like, we have a lot of people that condos and townhomes are a big thing. People are looking at, they don't want to handle the the extra work. We got some people, either they're getting older, they don't want to do it, or just busy. Lifestyle can take a lot of your time with the things that you do. It might be where you're a very busy professional, and you don't want to have to spend your time with, like today, we got several inches of snow out of the blue. Now that means, if you're taking public transportation or, anything like that, now you have to maybe make an adjustment to your schedule, maybe get up earlier, all those different kind of things. Whereas if you go and decide to do a purchase at a place like a condo or a townhome, now the HOA, they're going to cover that for you, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But HOA ain't free.
It's not free, right? And
Yes. So we want to keep that in mind. You want to look at those fees, because I I've seen some HOA fees that are extremely reasonable. I'm like, wow, it's only,
mhm.
$120 a month. That's not bad at all. Then I've seen some where it's like seven times that amount.
Yeah, and it really depends on the kind of the building and the community and stuff
Yeah.
because you know I forget what the area is, but 31st Street,
Hmm.
you might see a condo for like $35,000 or $40,000 or something like that, right? But
Okay.
their HOA fee is $1,000
$1,000
per month,
month. Yeah.
right? And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
yeah, and then the other part is you could find others in nicer, other not nicer because those are nice as well, but in other communities and where the HOA fees could be, on average around 400
Hmm.
a month. And so one thing I think I always think about is when people's like, oh, I want to live in a condo, and we're trying to get them into a property, and we're thinking that a condo might be a better situation rather than a single
Yeah.
family home.
Yeah.
But what happens is the HOA kind of kicks in, you know, the type of financing kicks in, and sometimes it is also easier just to buy for us to get you into a single family home than to actually get you into a condo.
Right.
Mm.
Well, Sometimes it's more feasible. Like that's a work,
Yeah.
and I think that comes out. That's probably more of a lending thing, where it comes down to whatever restrictions we have for guidelines for a variety of different loan types. Like government loans, FHA, VA, USDA. Well, not USDA for condo, but FHA, FHA, VA, and then of course you would have conventional. So those type of finances, they all have their own different rules and regulations and guidelines that you have to follow. And so sometimes the HOA restrictions, or sometimes lack thereof, may present a problem for the guidelines. So then you actually don't qualify based upon the type of financing that you're using. So that can definitely play into your scenario as well.
Yeah.
As we're talking about, pricing and stuff like that, like what people are paying per month, I do want to mention something else. I cannot tell you how often people say, "Oh, well, Redfin said I'm only gonna have to pay $1,300 a month." Um, boom, boom. The number you see online is not your monthly payment. First of all, your monthly payment is determined by me because I know your specific individual situation. Every loan is different. I've been doing mortgage loans for 18 years. Every single transaction is different. No two are alike. And there could be one little small, teeny tiny nuance that makes the difference in your transaction from your cousin or your mom or your ex or whatever. You know what I mean? And so all those things have to be taken into consideration. I can tell you this though, every time you look on Redfin, Realtor.com, and different places like that where they give you the listings and stuff, they're showing you usually a 20% down payment, and they're probably showing you an estimated interest rate for somebody with like an 800 credit score. So
Yes.
yeah, that's probably not going to be most.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's we talked about that last week, right? Like it's the same as when we see the car and they say, "Hey, come get this car for 0%
Right.
financing." They talking about the people with the 800 credit score.
Right, not just everybody. Not
Right.
everybody can't just come and get it. We can all go look, but they're gonna weed us out.
Right.
And only
Right,
allow the person with the 800, yeah, they're gonna be
right, right. So unfortunately, I mean, these are the things that we see. So yeah, to say. Well,
yeah.
Lisa, did you even mention about insurance differences and how the
I
insurance?
I did
You was
not. Actually,
yeah.
nope, I didn't touch on that. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of done more with the insurance, but I think we talked about HOAs being added to the mortgage, taxes being added to
Yeah.
the mortgage
Hmm.
payment, but insurance is also a big factor when you're looking in the city versus the suburbs as
Yeah.
well,
Because
right?
insurance is rated. So like my interest rates are not rated like that. Like they're pretty much the same based upon, well, they are rated, I guess, by credit, right? But insurance is rated by location. So, depending on where you're planning to go and live, if there's statistically, if there's a high amount of break-ins or something like that, then your insurance might be higher if you're moving to an area where it falls into that geolocation,
Hmm.
where it would be more expensive for the insurance. So that is something definitely, that's a very good point, Dion.
Yeah,
Something to take into
I
consideration.
think also something that I had recently kind of found out. I mean, we're not looking for insurance regularly, but I recently also heard that now they're looking at your credit score for insurance. Is that? I mean,
So not any more than what they normally do that I know of, but that's not something that I've been delving into lately either. I mean,
yeah.
they've always done some kind of a consumer report that they look at when they issue insurance. That's why sometimes you get a quote, like I call it a soft quote. Sometimes you can get a quote from somebody, and then when they go to underwriting, they come back and they say, your premium changed. And you like, what, my premium changed? Because they done looked your stuff up now. So now they
Yeah,
know what they're
yeah,
really dealing with. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So there's a lot of different, definitely uh, issues, city versus the suburbs and stuff. So, um, we did get a question about grants. Just to touch on it on a high level, because we talked about it in different episodes, but
Mhm.
grants, and when we talk about city versus suburbs, I don't know if there's really any difference in grants as far as cities versus the suburbs as far as grants. There's a
Right.
lot of
There
different.
can be a slight difference only because I have seen it in the past where municipalities will put grants into place.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. There can
Yeah.
be right there. There's some standard grants that we
Mhm.
know about, like IDA
Mhm.
is a standard grant that we you're
Right, that's
familiar
from the
with.
Illinois Housing Development Association, so that's for the entire state of Illinois.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
then there might be like there's a what's the neighborhood grant
Neighbor,
program.
yeah, the a block initiative, I think they call it. There's some, they have something like that as well. I have some, well, so I don't want to get too detailed. It's 6:29.
Yeah. Oh wow,
Okay,
wow.
so let me just give a real quick overview though. I'm going to say I'm not going to call them grants. Down payment assistance loans. They fall
Mm-hmm.
into usually 9 times out of 10, one of three categories. So they either fall into a category where it's a repayable second lien on your house. So you actually will be paying a small second mortgage when you get the until you pay back the money that was provided for you at closing. That's one way it can happen. The other way is you can get what they call a non-repayable or 0% interest forgivable loan. So every month that you make an on-time mortgage payment, then they forgive a prorated portion of that down payment loan until it's all the way forgiven down to zero. Okay. And then the third thing that can happen, which these are not as likely anymore. We used to have this a lot. This is why people use the word grant, is you can get something that doesn't have a lien on your house. I have two lenders, I think, right now that will do these. Has no lien on your house. The money is provided for you at closing. The only thing is you are going to have to stay in that loan for at least 6 months after, well, six
6 years.
payments. No, 6 months.
Oh, 6 months. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
after you have made six payments, so maybe 7 months. After you have made six payments, then you're allowed to refinance because on all three of those, the things that all three of them probably have in common is that they all are going to have higher interest rates than whatever your standard rate would be at the time of the market.
Yeah, yeah. And so there's different opportunities out there, and
Mhm.
when you work with us, we do help you find what's the best way of
Right.
purchasing a home. We do a lot of
Right. But if
negotiation.
it makes the most sense for you, because again, everybody's situation is different.
Right. So we do negotiating with the sellers to see if they could help you with paying credit towards closing.
Yes. Yep.
And we can do that city or suburbs. Some people think that, oh, well, you might get more offers in a certain area, but it really just depends on the house and the market, right?
Yeah.
Like what's the market right now and how many buyers are out there? Because
Mhm.
what can happen is a very nice house could sit for a longer period of time because there's really no buyers out there right now. And so then we
Mhm.
can go ahead and negotiate. Or the interest rate goes down low, which we've told you all multiple times. Don't sit around and wait because
Right.
our friend is trying to work on lowering the interest rates by something recently that had just came out. And
Yeah.
so if that is successful and we have a lower interest rate than 6%, which is actually a norm, that is a norm. That is not a high interest rate. That is a norm. So, but if we do get it down low or back again,
Mhm.
then what will happen is everybody that's been waiting will come out of the woodworks. And when what we used to do, we've done in the past years without problems negotiating, because there hasn't been that many seller buyers out there, will go away, because now I can't ask for money when there's 10 other people that likes the same house that you do.
Yeah. I mean, well, you could do it. Probably not a good negotiation tactic, though.
Right, right. Right, if you want to win, right? So that's what
Right.
we say. That's why I said we do a lot. to figure out what's the best way for you to get into your home.
Yep, absolutely.
Hmm.
Well, with that in mind, we're already after 6:30. We actually still have some more notes on stuff to discuss. We might have to figure out if we want to pick this up next week or not. I don't know.
Right.
Oh no, wait, no, we got a guest next week. Oh wow.
Yes, yes. Next week we have a guest.
Oh
So
yeah.
we're going to talk about home inspections.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Well, if you enjoyed this episode and if you want to get any of the handouts that we put together, like a city versus suburbs buyer comparison guide, drop guide in the comments and then we'll go ahead and get it sent over to you. Okay.
all right then. All right, and I'm gonna call you Lady Di. Give me a call. I put my number in the chat. So go ahead, give me a call, and we can talk about some of the questions that you had. So
Don't we do a webinar tonight?
we
We
do. You
got
can
this
also
information.
join us on our webinar, and let me see if I could. I'll put it in the Facebook chat
Okay.
so that you guys can, if anybody's interested in joining us. Uh, but definitely, there's a home buyers workshop, and that will actually start in about 30 minutes.
Yep. It's very detailed, so to give you a lot of information.
Yeah. So
All right. Thanks for joining.
thanks. Bye.
Good night, everybody.